What if I told you that we could predict the final ending of the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yaros? How do you say? By using a common plotting structure. Hey readers and writers, welcome back to the channel where we talk all things book. Stick around for the end of the video because I have a burning question from Onyx that I want to discuss with you, and I want your opinions.
Hi, I'm author Nancy Basile, and I write murder mysteries. You can get one of my mysteries for free using a link in the description below.
Today, we're tackling the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yaros. If you're not familiar, you may have heard people talking about dragon riders. The first book in the series is Fourth Wing, the second is Iron Flame, and the third just came out, Onyx Storm. It's a fantasy saga that has left us all theorizing, stressing, and maybe even crying over our favorite dragon riders. Now, I mentioned that I think we can predict the very ending of the Empyrean series, specifically what will happen with Xaden and Violet. And we are going to predict this ending using the W plot method. That's right, we're going full book nerd and mapping out Violet and Xaden's journey to see where Rebecca Yaros might take us next. I came up with the idea for this video and for predicting the end because a friend of mine who is reading Onyx Storm along with me said, I heard that Rebecca Yaros uses the W plotting method to write her books, and maybe that can clue us in to what's going to happen with Violet and Xaden in the end. She asked for my author expertise, and I think I guessed it correctly, and that's why I wanted to share it with you. Maybe it'll put you out of your misery. Okay, first, what is the W plot method? It's a very simple method for plotting out books, and it's just like it sounds. The method makes a W. Here's a graphic. The W plot method is a storytelling structure that follows 5 major turning points, forming a shape like, you guessed it, a W. And it makes it a great tool to break down the whole Empyrean series. First, you have the inciting incident that kicks off the whole story. That's up here at the top of the W. Then you get the first crisis that takes you on a downturn to the bottom. Then something shifts in the momentum that takes you to the middle of the story and hopefully an upturn. But then the bad things come back and your heroine or hero is at rock bottom down here. It's their darkest hour. And then they fight back up to that final point in the W, and everything, hopefully, turns out as it should. I'm guessing you're here because you've read the books and you are familiar with Fourth Wing. And if you're not, this video, I should have said this right from the get-go, is going to be full of spoilers. So turn this off, go read the books, and then come back and watch the video because I don't want to ruin a single page for you. Let's put this W method into practice with Fourth Wing. First point in the W is the inciting incident when Violet enters Basgiath College. Her inciting incident takes off right from the get-go. She wasn't supposed to survive. Her whole world gets turned upside down. So I'm going to write, Violet enters Basgiath. First point in the W. Her first crisis, down here somewhere, she's got a lot of crises. Can you pick just one? I'm going to say the Gauntlet, because that's about midway between the beginning of the book and the middle of the book. So first crises, the Gauntlet. Now, all the way along here, of course, she's had all kinds of ups and downs, lots of crises, lots of bad things happening. So getting through the Gauntlet is, or trying to get through the Gauntlet is definitely one of her first crises. Next, we're going to go to the midpoint. Now, the midpoint, as you guessed it, is at the middle of the story or the middle of the book. And in this case, I would say it's Threshing, when she's able to bond with Tarn and Andarna. You can see that she had an upswing to get to that point. She accomplished lots of stuff. She figured out lots of stuff, and there she is. So around here, things are going great with Xaden. They're showing each other affection. She's figuring out how he feels. He's figuring out how he feels himself. things are going great. And then boom, we hit a bottom down here when she finds out about the rebellion. Throws her whole world again into topsy-turvy, not only with Xaden because he was holding back from her, but everything she thought she knew about Navarre and her life at Basgiath gets turned on its ear because she finds out, whoo-hoo, Venom and Wyvern are real. Then we have an upturn where the two of them come to an understanding. They come out the other side of a battle alive, and we have an incredible fight at the end of the book. That is the victory for the end of Fourth Wing. So you can see how all of those events led to the W plot method. Now, how can we apply that same method across 5 books? Because Rebecca Yaros has said there will be 5 books in the series. Well, we just finished Onyx Storm, which, according to the W plot method, is midpoint in the series. Again, using a scrap piece of paper, we are going to predict whether Violet and Xaden will stay together and be alive and not be Venom. Okay. First point in the W is the first book. Is the first book, Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing, kind of up here. Got introduction to the world of the Empyrean series, all the characters, how it works, the magic, the dragons. So we're up here on the W with Fourth Wing. And I would say that Fourth Wing ends on a high note because Violet never thought she would live through Basgiath's first year, and she does. And she and Xaden, for better or for worse, are together. And she's got 2 dragons. Girl's winning. Then we got a downturn towards Iron Flame. Why do I say that? Things get tougher in that second book, don't they? We're facing the secrets. We're facing her mother. All kinds of gnarly, complicated, messy things are happening. So I would say that, yeah, this is definitely the downturn here for Violet and Xaden. Because at the end of this, as you may recall, Xaden is Venom. If that's not a low point, I don't know what is. Then we come up to Onyx Storm. Midpoint, 3rd point in the series, 3rd book in the series. I'm sorry I'm not much of a visual artist, or I would draw cute pictures and dragons and Xaden and Violet and maps maybe, but I don't have that in me. I'm a writer. We know he's a Venom. And you might be saying to me, Nancy, how can you put Onyx Storm at the top point here? Because the end is rough. But let's look at the whole book as being a top point. They're traveling to beautiful places. They're meeting all kinds of people that they didn't know. They got allies. They discovered things about their magic and their dragons. For most of the book, they have a pretty good time. Yeah, some bad stuff happens. Of course it does. But for most of the book, I think they're having a pretty good time. Xaden and Violet are getting to hang out together, and things are a little rough in that area. But when they go to a land with no magic, the magic actually happens, etc., etc. So I would say that this is a high point until the end, the end of the book. But even then, they're married. And when he says it's yours, I'm pretty sure he means Tyrandor and Orisha. So that's a win in her column. There's also something in writing called the false defeat and the false victory. And it comes smack in the middle of your story. And I would venture to say that this is a false defeat. Xaden's on the run. They think he's killing people. Of course, we know he's not killing people. It's who the brother in the book is. And I don't know who that is. And it's driving me crazy. I can't figure out who he means. That Rebecca Yaros. Ugh. But this, I think, is the false defeat in that they didn't save him. He went full Venom. And oh my gosh, now what are we going to do? Because the beauty of the false defeat in the middle of a story means that you end with a victory. That's why I think we're headed in the right direction when we get to the end. If this were a false victory, meaning they cured him, everybody was hunky-dory, they were winning the war, then we'd have a lot of bad stuff to go through before we got to this point, because this would be a false victory. But I think this is a false defeat where Xaden is full venom, thinks he's evil, whatever. Her memories got wiped thanks to Imogen. Thanks a lot, Imogen. And we are headed for better times. That's what I think is happening here. But let's continue with our W plot structure. Now, we know things have to get worse before they get better. Everyone thinks that Xaden is out there on a venom killing spree, right? We know that he's probably doing something secretive, trying to maybe cure himself or do something else heroic. Goodness only knows. But it's going to be bad before it gets better. So book 4, whatever it is going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of, I think, Violet being a leader of Tyrandor. She's going to have to make a lot of tough decisions. Maybe she thinks he's gone for good. Maybe she thinks he's dead. We're going to have to grieve. I think more people will die. It's not going to be good. And that will be the 4th book down here. And then we get to the 5th book, where, because of the false defeat in the midpoint, I think we're going to end with Violet and Xaden together. I think from here to here, maybe even from here to here, they're going to find a cure. They're going to find some way to cure him. Magic has a balance, right? So if magic has a balance, then boop, there's got to be a way to reverse that. And then maybe they start reversing it for a bunch of other people too. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But the wyverns, they all crash, etc. And I think because of the false defeat here in the middle of the series, we're going to get a happy ending with Xaden and Violet. Now, I want to know what you think is going to happen in the end. Tell me in the comments if you think I'm right or wrong. So there you have it. That's my prediction based on the W plot structure. Xaden and Violet will stay together and be alive. We can't forget that part. And now my burning question. It has to do with, I think, Corden. They're on an island with no magic. I get that. She's got her globy deal, her conduit. Okay. And in the middle is the alloy that she has imbued with magic. And that's what Xaden channels when he goes all murdery on everyone at court, right? I don't know why that makes him more venom, because that magic that he channeled came from a dragon. Because her magic comes from a dragon. I think that's a huge plot hole, and I want someone to explain to me why that made him more venom. I don't know why I'm pointing to my hand. I want to know why that magic made him more venom when he didn't channel it from the earth or any non-magic place. He channeled it from magic that came from a dragon, which shouldn't turn him venom. So why did it? Why? That's what I want to know. And you can't say it's because it was Violet's magic, because then siphoning wouldn't have worked to imbue the Wardstone, would it? And Dane gave his magic to Sloane, who gave it to Brennan to heal Violet. So why did that turn him venom? You got to tell me in the comments. You got to tell me in the comments why I'm wrong. Fight me. Because when I read that, I was like, hold up. It doesn't work that way. And it really sticks in my craw. And if you like romance that has a little bit of action and adventure in it, I highly recommend watching this video for my book review.